Today on the channel, it's been quite some time since I've had to use the Force, but this time we do it differently with Operation Monster Force, General Brown.
And the spirit of Ultimate Warrior will run forever!
Kyle here, and welcome back to the channel for something entirely different here today. As for the first time ever, I'm taking a look at an Operation Monster Force action figure. And today, we got a general. We got General Brown. But for all your Operation Monster Force needs, I guess you got to hit up Big Bad Toy Store, as that is the exclusive carrier of this brand, part of the Big Bad Workshop. Only place you're going to be able to buy these ones here. Now, I haven't grabbed any of these Operation Monster Force figures. I know a lot of the people that collect G.I. Joe Classified are grabbing these figures. They want a piece of the action. They want to use this with their classified figures. I totally get that, but there's only so much money. There's only so much space to go around. So you got to choose. You got to pick and choose. I'm sure you do it as well. However, this went up for pre-order like a year ago, 2 years ago. What is time? Totally forgot about it. But I did pick this one up because I thought this one would go really good with G.I. Joe for a lot of different reasons, and we'll dive into that here in a little bit. And of course, we're going to do this review like we do all the other reviews on the channel. We're going to take a look at the packaging. We're going to talk about it. We're going to unbox it. We're going to talk about it. We're going to see where it goes from there. So without further ado, let's see what old General Brown's up to here. I don't know about that name, General Brown. It's an interesting one. I guess it fits. He's got the brown skin going on, so maybe that's what they're aligning it to. I'm not sure. But this is a bit of a 4-in-1 figure. Yes, you heard it right, 4-in-1. Perfect army builder, and that was one of the reasons I bought this. I may pick up more of these if I really like it. We'll see what happens, but want to give it one go around with this one first. Very cool packaging here. Operation Monster Force, got the glamour shot there of Mr. Brown, looking very nice. No issues with that. Much like a VHS case or a book is what it feels like here. General Brown looking good. Operation Monster Force. Same thing on the other side here. Then on the back, we get a big blurb back here, a big blurb, and then we get some of the different looks you can make General Brown into in the package here. And then, of course, like any good toy line, you always got to have the cross-sell down low. Let's see what it says right here. Complete your collection at Big Bad Toy Store. A new threat is rising. An ancient evil has emerged from Egyptian sands, leaving destruction in its wake. As his power grows, the governments of the world send their best soldiers to destroy him. General Brown deploys the Phantom Corps, an elite special ops unit used for rapid insertion during the first hours of conflict. They engage this mystical being only to be wiped out by his sorcerous powers. The only survivor, Intelligence Officer Declan Van Helsing, reports seeing his teammates rise from the dead as zombie soldiers, single-minded in service to their new master. Horrified, the Sentinels realize conventional methods of attack will only add to the ranks of what the UN has dubbed the Apophis Legion. General Brown needs new ideas on how to fight this supernatural threat. Declan Van Helsing only has one. Well, if I'm not mistaken, Todd McFarlane from the couch, I'm going to defer over to you. I believe they called in Flint. Yes, Flint from the G.I. Joe team, crossing the streams. Todd, you know about that a little bit. Crossing the streams there. You got to go to a true leader. They got to get the biggest, the baddest, G.I. Joe. They're calling in Flint, and Duke actually answered the phone. Surprise, surprise. Duke always sitting behind the desk, as we know. Can I help you? And General Brown, he was all excited about that, and General Brown hung up. And then he's like, he kept calling, hoping not to get Duke, but Duke kept answering. He finally said, Duke, I need Flint and a couple of good men. I'll take Alpine. I'll take Roadblock. He went through the list, got a few of those. And he goes, you know, Duke, why don't you just stay behind? Keep Windmill, maybe Sneak Peek and Psych Out with you. They can hang with you, Duke. Those are your kind of guys. And who knows? And that was around the time where Mainframe was tasked with the duty of wiping Duke's computer. We'll never forget that one. Check out the Mainframe review on the channel. We do got a little bookshelf on here, or a bookcase open here like a book. Looks very nice. The powers of magnets compel us. Love to see that. And then we get a little bit of comic book action right here on the side. So you get a little bit more of the story for one General Brown. Part of the Eagle Force once upon a time, apparently. So shout out to the Eagle Force. If I'm not mistaken, Eagly from Peacemaker was part of the Eagle Force, I believe. Somebody fact check that if you want to. But how the heck do I get this out of the package? It's extremely tight. General Brown got a very tight box. Let me tell you. There we go. Power through, power through. I don't think I'm going to save the packaging on these, but you never know. I like to have the option. I like the option, but we're going to give the old heave-ho. See you later. Got the old plastic prison locked down with some hardcore twist ties, some twisty twist ties. Trying to outdo McFarland is what he's trying to do there. And then we got baggie upon baggie. So I'm going to take all this out, get all this out of the package, and we'll be back talking all things General Brown Operation Monster Force. All right, let's dive into the Monster Force. Let's start it off. Let's start off with the accessories. First one we got here, General Brown. It is very cool. You got his name there. You got the 2 pegs here. Always nice to get a stand with our figures. But if you don't want to use it as a stand, you can flip it up and you can use it as a gravestone. That's kind of cool. A little bit of a 2-in-1 here. Got dual use for this. I like things like that. It says Operation Monster Force. Not everybody needs these stands. They're a little bit big, but if you're trying to build out a graveyard, maybe put it with your Mythic Legion skeletons, you can do something like that. So that's a neat idea there. Now, he does come with a little booklet. It is paper. It does say Brown, Storm, Clark, and Frost. Is that supposed to be the different names for maybe these generals here if you're building your general army? I don't know if this is like a debriefing message or something. Is what it is, but we do get that. Now, we get 2 sets of hands with this. Makes sense to get that. You get the white skin and the dark skin. You can move it around, choose your own adventure between these. You get the what you gonna do, brother hand. You got to have that with the general. They're gonna do some of that kind of stuff. You get a trigger hands, 2 trigger hands, 2 fists of fury, 2 hi-ya hands if you need to do some karate action, and then you got some kind of kung fu grip kind of hands there. So choose your own hand adventure. We got a lot of hands, but nice to see. If you're gonna have 2 different skin tones, a little bit of that, you got to have that. So we got a ton of hands with this one here. Only 1 weapon, a pistol. That's all we get for him. And I guess this general, not leading from the front lines, he does got a pistol here looking very nice, is what it is. Now, diving into this here, where do we go? I guess we'll start with the hat here. You got the general hat looking very nice as well. Got a little emblem on the front, got the cords there, black and green attack, matches the suit, makes a lot of sense. You got the hat there. But now we're going to dive into it. And I guess before we get into it, we do get 3 different versions of the aviator. So you get the gold rim, you get 2 silver rims, and then you get black lenses or blue lenses. So make these guys your own, use whatever glasses you want for them, or don't use glasses at all, but you do have options. So it's nice to see that here with these glasses. As we know, a lot of these generals, they're wearing their shades, they're wearing their aviators, they're pulling them off. They mean business. So we do get 3 separate versions to choose your own adventure with. But now we're going to dive into the head sculpts here. The one out of the package here, General Brown, looking like a young Apollo Creed or an old Apollo Creed. Looking like Carl Weathers is what it looks like to me. I don't know if that's who it's supposed to be. It doesn't say his name anywhere, so I think they're just dancing around the license. Maybe, maybe not. But I do like the looks of that. If you're a kid of the 80s, you love it. You love him from The Mandalorian. You love him from the Rocky movies. Predator. One of the all-timers is Carl Weathers. What? Yes, Happy Gilmore as well. Top from the couch. Always represent with that movie knowledge. But it looks really good. Nice details here. Got the push broom mustache. Got the shorter hair. 2 eyes, 2 ears, a nose, and a mouth. And a very disgusted look on his face because he was talking to Duke on the phone so much. I understand it. I get how it goes. But it does look really nice. Now, the head is removable here. Very cool to see that. Always nice to be able to take the head off. And then the neck piece is removable as well. Not the easiest to get off. Might have to do some heating on that. But you do got the option to take that off, and you're going to need that option because you get 3 extra heads with this one here. Now, you get the old man with the white hair, the white push broom, looking extra mad, extra angry. But man, oh man, this looks like General Ross, of course, from Marvel. Turns into the Red Hulk. You may have heard of him, but looking very cool. Now, this is one of the nice things about this line. Make it Operation Monster Force. That's what it is. Have it with that. Or mix it into your G.I. Joe Classified line. Or put it with your Marvel Legends. You have options here. And I'm shocked we haven't got a General Ross for Marvel Legends yet. Have to imagine that's coming maybe in 2026. But temporary now, you can make your own here. You can have him turn it into the Hulk. You can do whatever you want. So it's nice to have that head there. Now, the next head here, looking very G.I. Joe. We're talking 70s G.I. Joe. And I know a little bit of 70s G.I. Joe. As I say it all the time on the channel, my uncle's about a decade older than me. He grew up in the 70s. I grew up in the 80s and 90s. He was all 70s, and that was Mego. That was G.I. Joe. That was stuff like that. And he played with the old Kung Fu grip, real fur beard styles. And that's what this Joe reminds me of right here. So if you're going to put it with your G.I. Joe team, this might not be a bad one here. Little scar action, got the beard matching the hair, looking very cool. And I like the idea here of buying 4 of these figures to display each one as their own character. And it gives you a little general. You can court martial Duke. You could have it being done right there. Might be worth time. Who knows? But we do have that head. And then last but certainly not least, I am not sure exactly who this is. Todd McFarlane. This kind of looks like Flint a little bit. It really does, and I can see it. You know, Flint has been asked to be generals numerous times. I think they actually asked Flint to be the president of the United States, and he turned them all down. He said, no, I lead with my men from the front line, and that's what I want to do. And, you know, there's people like that. They don't want to move any higher. They like where they're at. They love being in the front lines. They being down with a team. They like that, and Flint's one of those guys there. But this kind of does look like Flint, so not sure. I'm sure it's based on somebody. It's supposed to be somebody, but a good-looking individual right here. Got the very stoic, almost mad face on there, and 2 eyes, 2 ears, nose, and a mouth, playing all those human hits. So you got options with this one. There is plenty of options with this General Brown. But now, speaking of General Brown, let's dive into it. Feels very Marvel Legend, G.I. Joe Classified scale-wise, that is for sure. Feels like it belongs in there. I really wish Marvel Legends had suited figures like this. A lot of times they got those tap dancing shoes that look ridiculous. They don't stand up very well. This would be a nice body for them. But you do get the green suit. That's what it is. The general suit. Got all kinds of the awards, all the medals and all that on the shirt. Got it on the pockets there. 2 pockets in the front. General Brown right there on the front as well. Got gold buttons here. Got little buttons on the top as well. Sculpted in, looking nice. White shirt with a black tie underneath. You got the 2 gripping hands out of the package here. Green pants down to the black shoes. So pretty plain as far as things go, but that's kind of a general look for you. That's what a general's going to have. Now, articulation, we talked about the head being removable. Neck is removable as well. Arms all the way around for us. Bicep cut. Double jointed, pinless elbows, playing all the hits. Hands removable back forth, side to side. Waist articulation. A little bit of back and forth, not a ton to write home about. That skirt of the coat kind of getting in the way. Leg goes up a little bit. Got to be careful. You don't want to tear that shirt. So you could be careful there. But it does go up just a little bit there. Once again, he's not going to be a gymnast in this outfit. You do look to have a thigh cut. No, it's a swivel up there at the top. You do get pretty much a thigh cut there, as you do get the movement right up there at the hip. Double jointed, pinless knees, very smooth like butter, like that. Ankles, back forth, side to side, up and down, looking really good. And obviously he should fit on a Monster Force stand, I would imagine, right? Yes, he does. How about that? Fitting on that stand. How about the hat? Does that fit pretty well? Fits pretty well, I would say. No holster for his weapon, though, so that is a bit of a miss, but I guess you don't see many generals in this kind of outfit wearing anything like that. So an interesting turn of events, but I do got another general here hanging out. I do got Hawk, and I'm going to pull Hawk's head off. I wonder if it'll fit, because it'd be fun to make Hawk in here. We could have the trial, the court-martial of Duke. Forget Falcon. Let's court-martial Duke. Oh, not going to fit. Too small in there, too big up here. That sucks, but you know how it is. You can be heated up, carve it up. You could do something to probably change that if you really wanted to. But unfortunately not compatible with the G.I. Joe Classified line. I was hoping you could swap heads around, do some of that kind of thing. Not the case with this one, not the case. But they do scale very well with the Classified series. And that goes back to what I was saying. A lot of people mixing and matching, putting a lot of these figures with their G.I. Joe Classified. Makes a lot of sense. Builds out that universe, builds out that army, grabs some Valaverse. You can have a huge war before things are all said and done. So that looks pretty well together. And I talked about old Thaddeus Ross. Look at that. You can get old Red Hulk right here. So you can have him changing into Red Hulk if you want to in your collection. So a very versatile figure. And as I said, the first figure from Operation Monster Force I picked up. Not sure if I'm going to get any more, but this one feels like a great utility player in Marvel Legends, G.I. Joe Classified, Monster Force, and all points in between. So a very interesting run here. There is a few ones that are interesting to me. There's that new one from, was that like G.I. Joe episode 50, that skeleton with the robe on. They are releasing that. It's not G.I. Joe, but it's close enough to be dangerous. I'm tempted to get that. That reminds me of my childhood. Remember that G.I. Joe comic very well. Stuff like that really interests me, and I'd be all in on the Operation Monster Force if, I made an extra, 50 grand a year or whatever it may be. I don't know what the money would be, but I would pick those up, but you can only collect so much. You only got room for so much, but definitely interesting. Definitely a line I'll keep my eye on in the future. But what's your thoughts on Operation Monster Force? You diving into these? You dived in head first? Are you one of the ones that said, I'm done with the classified line, I'm just getting the Monster Force? Let me know in the comments down below. And of course, you made it this far. Don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, turn on the old notification bell. We got videos every single day and then some. We got even more content for you on Patreon. Patreon, best way to support this YouTube channel. You can also check out YouTube channel memberships if that is your thing. Sir Paul64 on the X, _Kyle_Peterson on Threads, Instagram, TikTok, and TheKylePetersonShow at gmail.com. The name of my podcast each and every Tuesday, it is The Kyle Peterson Show. Check it out wherever podcasts are found with video cast on YouTube. So for General Brown, I'm Kyle. See you guys all real soon.
Well, are we gonna dance or are we gonna play?
We're going to the end of the line.